we know that because it is the #1 recommended brand by dentists. And with World Oral Health Day coming up, we're reminding you that a happy mouth is a happy mind. And to get this, Sensodyne is giving you 50% off on selected products to keep your teeth strong. So grab your pack from any Carrefour, Naivas, Chandarana or Quickmart, and that's between the 20th and the 23rd of March. Sensodyne for... so you can grab that there, and Sensodyne is for tooth sensitivity relief and everyday oral health. That you want to get into, and you want to get into it now. All right, so getting to some conversations that we will have this morning. We're going to be joined in a few minutes by Ken Ondiek, who is the national chair of the Progress Plus Alliance. And we're asking certain questions, and I guess he's saying about what they will or will not do in the coming weeks. All right. And as we do that, just looking at some conversations that we had earlier and just shedding light on some of them, we're looking into the SHA issue and that story that we didn't get to share too much in terms of details. I just want to revisit that let's take a bit of history, that the private hospitals had come out and they had said, look, from the NHIF days, you do owe us quite a pretty chunk of change. And what we are saying that if you want us to continue offering these services, we don't have a problem with that. But what we're asking you to do is to pay us what you owe us from years yonder. Now, historically, now, it's been back and forth, and they got to the point whereby they said, we're not going to be able to offer services anymore because we've been doing this on a credit basis, but you owe us so much money that it's coming to the point where we're unable to operate. So anybody coming into these facilities is going to have to pay cash, or unfortunately, we're going to have to ask them to go to another facility. Well, the PS for in the Ministry of Health came out and said that the government will not succumb to intimidation by private hospitals. So this thing you're coming to tell us that you're not going to treat people, just get it out of your head. We're not going to succumb to that. And also you need to be remembering at the same time that we are the ones who issue your licenses. So you might want to rethink the stance that you have taken.
Did intimidation come into the conversation?
Sorry?
At what point did intimidation come into the conversation?
Or as per when did the hospital say that, when would it have been perceived that it was intimidation by the hospital saying pay us or we don't treat? Well, this is what it has been perceived by the Ministry of Health in the person of the PS. He's also gone on to say, while we're at it, we're not even sure that some of these claims that you guys have brought to us are genuine or that they are they're substantiated. So any claim above 10 million shillings, number one, you must substantiate it. If you can't, the likelihood of us paying you then is basically tossed out the window.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Apart from
given the problems that NHIF has had, and given cases where we have actually witnessed that there were health facilities that were actually invoicing, what's that thing called? NHIF for services that were in doubt. Mm-hmm. Yes, it makes sense.
It does make sense.
Yes, but it doesn't have to be issued in that way.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Look, if you want to verify the cost, that is a separate conversation, and they've been doing it just like they're doing with pending bills. Because again, with pending bills, given the thieving nature of the citizens of this country, people were just sort of like making up things and claiming for things that never happened. So it makes perfect sense. Hospitals were claiming services were provided for that weren't provided, and when these things have been audited, we found some genuinely strange things. Okay, somebody died, and somehow they're unwell and they've been treated. Yeah. Somebody has been treated for the same ailment God knows how many times. I mean, come on, for heaven's sake. Okay? So this is a time for having a sober conversation, not for grandstanding and going into a pissing contest. It will not help anybody.
It won't, especially since private hospitals are demanding 30 billion shillings in debt owed by the defunct National Insurance Health Insurance Fund. Some of these facilities have suspended SHA services. Yesterday, the PS warned that private hospitals found guilty of denying services to patients would be deregistered from SHA. So it's not even...
This is the point. I mean, what on earth is that?
I mean, it's not even an issue of maybe tomorrow. It's like we find out today that you're not offering services under SHA. We're going to delink you completely.
But they're under no obligation to offer services. I mean, what are you talking about?
Now, let's look at how.
This is private property. It's a private hospital.
And do we see that private hospitals are actually doing a favor by stepping in to fill the gap that public hospitals are not able to? Because if we say remove private hospitals from this particular equation, will the public hospitals that exist in the country be able to shoulder the burden of the sick in Kenya today on their own?
The answer is a resounding no.
There you go. Where did they
cannot.
come from?
They cannot.
How do you have the proliferation of private hospitals in the country in the first place? Is because there was a gap. Nobody was sitting in the house and said, you know what, I'm kind of bored. How about I open a hospital? No. Or I need a business to operate. Let me open a hospital. There was a gap. There was not enough in terms of, filling that gap. And that's where private hospitals come from. That's how the private sector is built. It's the solutions that are being offered that unfortunately the public sector does not have enough in terms of bandwidth to carry. And to their credit, even if it was functioning fully, properly, you don't have enough to then be able to carry the entire population. It's not an insult, it's not undermining, it's not criticism, it's the truth. So private hospitals come in essentially to share the burden with you and say, let's go ahead and do this. So when you tell them that so what happens is that it's a credit system, and that's how it works. Yeah. People come, you get treated, you bill your SHA card, even your private insurance. That's just how it works. So they offer you the service on credit and then essentially go back to the insurance firms and claim as hospitals. And so it's the same procedure that you would go back to government as an institution or as a facility and then claim, I treated Ndu and this was her bill, 300,000. I treated CT, this was his bill, 25,000. I treated Dennis like that. So essentially the government is supposed to pay them back. So they've been offering these services on credit to the tune so far said of 30 billion shillings under NHIF. They continue to offer these services under SHA because it still remains a credit system. Now, to its credit, government has, to an extent, been paying current bills. Do you understand? That in this time, they've been paying current bills. They offset some of this money, but they're saying that the majority of the money has been unpaid. And what private hospitals have been foreseeing is a situation whereby they're going to get into another 30 billion shilling funk. So they're saying, in order to avoid it, how about you do this? How about we stop offering the service so we don't go into further debt? And how about you figure out how you can pay us this 30 billion? Even if you're going to come to us and say we'll be paying $1 billion every week, whatever the case may be, how about you commit to that? Government said, not happening. And then they've also gone ahead to say, we don't even know if that 30 billion is substantiated.
Now they've muddied the waters.
And then further to that, we are demanding that people come to hospital you must treat them. Yeah. These other things that people are saying about how we've not paid you and how we
treat people.
You treat people. Then on top of that, if you don't treat them and we find out that you're not treating, we will remove you from this thing completely. You will not even be able to help us. You will not be able to help us anymore. Then to add salt, add insult to this injury, you now on top of that say, then we find out even that you've been irritating us even more. We will not even renew your licenses when they come up for renewal.
And icing on the cake, why are these hospitals only now demanding payments for claims dating back to 2016?
No, it's not only now.
Why didn't they pursue these claims earlier?
They did. They've been pursuing the claims.
Yes.
They have been pursuing the claims. You've just not paid them. It just now means that what is biting?
The hospitals were being gracious. Okay? They were rogue hospitals, rogue facilities that were doing God knows what it is they were doing, and they were milking the system, okay? But there were very many hospitals that were providing services for which they haven't been paid. It's a legitimate claim they're making. Why doesn't the government come up and say, look, we've audited, and what we know we owe you is this, okay? Look at our audit and tell us what whether you agree with it or not. It is not complicated. It can't be that all hospitals, all private facilities, all private health facilities in this country have a problem. No. This is a credit facility that was offered to the government. And they're saying, pay up.
Yeah.
That's all.
And they're even saying, break it down. Sawa, we know that maybe at once you don't have 30 billion.
Give us a plan.
Perfecto.
Remember, they gave a notice and said, look, please, by this time, sort this thing out. And what they were asking was for conversation and assurance. They said, okay, Beyond this point, those who are in hospital, we will treat. But anybody else coming with a new ailment, we will not treat. They said so in advance.
They
Now,
did.
do you know what would have averted this? A conversation and a plan.
To even say, all right, folks, for now, for sure, we don't have 30 billion, but we do acknowledge the fact that this money is owed. Whether it is the full 30 billion or whether it's 26 billion, whatever, is a 4 billion knocked off because, we can't substantiate, whatever the case may be. So, folks, we don't have that money right now, but what we know is that it'll come in the future. So what we can do is that we can split this. We can do it into tiers. Certain hospitals at this level, whatever will get paid as we try to make our way up
This
in
is
the
our
chain.
plan.
This is the plan.
And to show goodwill, this is what we're paying now. Okay? Let's move forward. The patients would still have been going to hospital. The issue of them not being admitted would not have arisen. But instead now we're grandstanding.
What's the problem? What's the
This
issue
is the
with
same issue we had when it came to the industrial actions we've seen with the health fraternity. You have a plan, you have a promise, you even have a CBA. Every time we've had people who head these institutions, they come and tell you, even that conversation is difficult.
Yeah.
We don't have the money now. We don't have it. Okay? But what we will have tomorrow, the day after, is this. Can we start with this?
With this.
Please.
I don't see a situation
Can
where
we start with this?
even if they make noise for you from here till tomorrow, they will be accepting because they've seen that
These
you've
people
made a
live here, they're
step.
Kenyans, they know
But
exactly what to
come
But
on.
City, even as we talk about these pending bills, NHIF pending bills and whatnot, just how much before NHIF was actually closed down, how much was it worth? I'm just saying here around 82 billion. And
Yes.
we're talking about funds that are owed to this to these hospitals. Remember, City, that these are contributions from Kenyans which ought to have gone into paying their bills. It is not any other person's fund. So failure to meet these obligations is simply because someone has decided not to. Because where did the 82 billion
But
shillings
you know
from
something, this
NHIF go?
deciding to, is it their purview, is it their mandate, is it something that is enshrined in their employment that they have a right to simply tell the people who are asking for their money that it's up somewhere else?
She can do it, City. Do.
No,
That's exactly what they're saying.
No. Good governance demands that we have a lot more from the public service than what is being displayed.
Yeah, absolutely. Indeed. And, that forms the basis of another conversation that we'll be having this morning. And it's more or less around the issues of governance, Kenya Kwanza protests. And that's what we'll be talking. Good morning.
Morning.
Karibu sana.
Yes, long time.
Long time. Did you lose the address?
I decided to abandon, losing the address of this place.
Yeah.
No. It's about our mismanagement of public things, making public transport difficult, messing the roads, causing jams left, right, and center.
The king is around.
Yeah, the king is messing people walking around the town with some paid crowds wasting time and interfering with the transport system. So there was jam. I'm sorry, a little later.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Karibu sana. It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
And let's welcome you to today's conversation. CT has a proverb, as you know, and we would like to know your interpretation of the same.
I will try my best.
Okay.
Sudan, the Republic of Sudan is where our proverbs are from this week. The name Sudan originates from the Arabic word Bilal al-Sudan, meaning land of blacks. Okay? Right. If your relatives are dogs, this is a proverb. Okay? I'm not making a statement. I am actually, yes. If your relatives are dogs, make a tail for yourself. That is the proverb.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, fine. If your relatives are dogs,
You make a tail for yourself, yes.
you make a tail for yourself. It means, what dogs, sometimes they don't... I look at dogs in two things. One, they are disciplined. When dogs are mating, sometimes they are very disciplined. But sometimes they also don't care about who they attack, and they can decide to attack anybody. So it means you have to watch your own back. I don't know whether it would resonate with the current status or the current situation in our country. We have friends and relatives. When I talk about relatives, I talk about fellow Kenyans. There are some who behave like animals. they don't look at the fact that everybody needs to survive. Yeah, because you see, the instinct of a dog, while they can protect their young ones, they can also be very disciplined when they are in their biological mating process. But you see, it's always a struggle. For you to find yourself a space to end up being there, to be respected as they always respect the one who has gotten there, there's too much struggle, and they will always fight over anything. So I am not the best with proverbs, but I have tried my best.
One would say you have tried.
And then you say you're not good at proverb interpretation.
You've interpreted, and you have even gone ahead to apply it to the life that that you live. So I don't know if you're not good at a proverb. I don't know the person who's bad at it, how they sound.
Thank you.
Karibu sana. Certain things have happened since the last time you came and had a conversation with us. And that's even found in the title of our conversation this hour, where you're asking, or rather we're saying that why legislators are walking away from the Kenya Kwanza promises.
Yeah, the last time I was here, basically, I was talking for the government. And that time, still challenged me, why am I on a different tone today? Because the last time we were within it, trying to make it work. And as I said, I was that time coordinator of Nyanza, of UDA.
Yes.
The purpose why we were doing that was basically to open the democratic space. And he tried to challenge me here that will we succeed in opening up that democratic space. But because we have realized that we have someone who doesn't want to open up the space, he has decided to collude with the president. Basically, the arrangement between Raila Odinga and the president is not to help the president run the country. It's to position himself to control Nyanza. So that is why I've said where he is, it's a total mess. I have chosen to move along with the party. Why am I talking about that? You have asked me, why are Kenya Kwanza members of parliament running away from Ruto's or the Kenya Kwanza promises? In fact, don't call it Kenya Kwanza promises. There's nothing like Kenya Kwanza.
What do you mean?
The government is Ruto, and Ruto is the government. So there are Ruto promises. We don't talk about, no any other person gives promises. Because if we talk about MPs running away from promises, from whose promises? Because they are the MPs. How can they be running away from their government promises? They are running away from William Ruto's promises, which are basically promises made not to be fulfilled, promises made with no strategies of being fulfilled, promises made with no attempts of being fulfilled. And any attempt made falls ab initio because there's theft that starts with it.
Ondiek, I have to stop you.
Hey.
Ondiek,
Man, you've entered this conversation all cylinders firing.
Blowing from the gasket.
All right, do.
So I have to ask you, you speak with such vehemence, but not too long ago, and really, just, under 2 years ago, you sat in that very same seat.
And not once.
And not once. And what you said was the total opposite of what you're saying today. In fact, many would have said that there's the priest and then there's the choir. You are the choir.
You will help me launch a book, which I'm going to publish. I think it's supposed to be out very soon. It's called the Puppets Revolt. I'm calling it the Puppets Revolt. That is a journey from spinning to revolution. We, as the persons who speak for the government, in fact, whoever will come to speak for this government here, ask him this question: are you spinning or giving opinions?
So
because
were you spinning?
I've realized that after my short stint of that spinning period, which didn't last a year and a half, I was speaking. We were being made to speak things which are not true. Okay. And I want to say, even Mwaura, when he stands to address the nation, he's not speaking the truth. Because you see, when I'm on station like this, my phone is now on silent. When I'm done, I go read what people have sent to me. I have Kenyans who send to me things. Like I was one day on K24 defending Shah. In fact, the worst was on Ramogi TV, defending Shah.
In your language?
In my language. And once I was done, I got out of studio, 13 people called me. I got 13 missed calls because I like returning missed calls. One of them abused me and told me, Bwana, if you have eaten money there, just return that money. It's not sweet.
Had you?
I didn't.
You didn't.
In fact, this is a government which steals even from those who defend it.
I have to hold it again.
In fact, even you who defends it on the platform, it steals from you.
Sorry.
Just hold it.
One on deck.
Let's start by saying that everything you're saying is your opinion.
Basically,
Yes.
not the channel's
No,
opinion.
not basically. It is fundamentally your opinion. Yes, because it is not our opinion.
Yeah.
Because
It cannot be yours.
No. So long as you're in this studio,
Yes.
my friend, we'll be enjoined with you. Yes, we get sued for having guests who say inflammatory things here. So,
Okay, fine.
Yes.
Let me.
We're not saying you should stop.
Okay.
No.
No,
Please,
yeah.
go ahead. We're just saying.
I just need to ask the question that, so at the time when you believed in the promises, everything that was said, you carried on and said that yes, this is the way that Kenya is going. We endorsed the message coming from the president. Nobody could have convinced you otherwise at the time. So the question is, at the time, Ondiek, did you know that you were spinning? And if so, were you fooling Kenyans?
And so I start from this point.
Did you know you were spinning?
Are you mad?
Were you?
Oh, you see,
Were you fooling Kenyans?
Have you known why people have divorces? Cases of divorce are all over the country and all over the world. People get divorced because you get into a process and you get into a relationship based on what you are told, maybe from the first point. But when you realize you get this person is so adulterous, this person is not trustworthy, you end up getting divorced.
But there are also red flags that have been blowing in your face that you choose to ignore.
And it didn't take me a year and a half to see those red flags. Well, that's what I'm saying. One, we have a system which is experimental. We have a system which is testing everything, and the problem is that it is tested with Kenyan lives. When we had NHIF, instead of strengthening NHIF, they chose to bring share.
NHIF. Okay.
Yeah, when I went to the station, I was given a good policy document. I come to present, and actually I presented it well, CT, didn't I?
Oh, you did. Actually.
I really presented it well. But now when I went back, people tell me, Bana, what you have presented is not working. I had to evaluate. I had to think. And that's why I've come here to say courageously that that we have been defending. And even those who will come still to defend it, I've even seen some government officials come to sit here, some who I also respect a lot. And they lie to you.
What happened that made you change your mind?
I
Something
realize
must
that
have
they're
happened.
lying. You see, when you realize that somebody is lying, then you ask them, and when you come here, you talk that policy, you get the feedback from the people, and when you tell them the feedback, you don't get opportunity to be heard. But it's a government that doesn't listen to anything. It's a government that is not advised. It's a government that is messed. Simple like that.
Ken, as someone who was speaking the government's language at the time, and your realization that things are not going as expected, one would assume that you had this conversation with the powers that be. And at that point of sitting down with them to raise your concerns about these promises that you had, big promises, what was the response and who exactly did you talk to?
If you have a president who advises his advisors, now who can you go to advise? You see, you'll advise his advisor, then advisor will tell you, I'll not be advising. So if we are to move forward, Ndo and Siti and Mike.
Yeah.
It's called Dennis.
Dennis. I want to say that, one, we must know that as a country, we gave ourselves a constitution, and it gave us freedom of speech. It gave us freedom of association. I was speaking for them freely, whether it was making them happy. Now that I have also ability to speak freely, whether it's going to make them sad, let them swallow it. Because that time some people are also sad because of what. But I've realized those who are sad are more than those who are happy. So I chose to join the many. Because you see, governance is about principles, and it's about structures. If you put up structures which are not propelling the system to the next direction, you saw the president moving around Nairobi. Who was even willing to follow him? In fact, boat crowd, which ended up being thieves, interfering with everything. For the first time, we have seen president's convoy killing 2 people, a police officer who is serving them and a foreign citizen. Which places? Even the officers who are planning the system are tired. Everybody is tired. They just can't leave because some people fear losing a job. I didn't have a job there, Andu. I was not employed by the government. I didn't have anything to lose. And if I realize that I'm speaking things which are not even resonating with my villagers, so what do I do? How do you keep saying things which are, first of all, they are not helping you? They are ending up, we are betrayed. As a country, we are betrayed.
A lot of times when we hear positions like this coming to the public, it's usually that something has happened in the back room or on the back end.
Let me tell you what has
that
happened.
is unpalatable for you.
Let me tell
So
you.
the question is, what happened, Ken?
What happened are three things.
Who let you down for you to make this
One,
public position?
just like William Ruto and his government let down the hustlers. We tried to explain to hustlers that we have policy like this which is going to take you here. We were told hustler fund, only to realize that hustler fund is too small to run any business. We were told we are modifying education system. We came and explained it. We were told in fact, in this country, ministers don't even run their departments now.
Who runs the departments?
Which minister will say anything? Because these things are all run from State House. Which minister will come and say, I'm going to do this? He cannot do or she cannot do anything.
Why?
The minister can't do anything. Because
Why?
we are in a country which is hijacked. It's currently hijacked, and the worst now, the biggest hijacker has arrived. Odinga has now further hijacked it together with Now, it can't just work. Now, what I was simply saying, one, as a country, we must move on. And the state we have is not going to provide services because it just decided to focus on nothing. When you have a country which is in crisis, a country where for 3 months now we are since the beginning of this year, there's no even foreign president who has visited the president in the State House. The president has nothing to do in the State House. He's busy walking out on the streets.
The Queen and King of the Netherlands are here.
I hear. That's what
The King and Queen of the Netherlands. That's why
king
you were
is the
late.
head of
They
no
are
state.
here.
Let me tell you, a king we are talking about presidents. A king is a head of which state? In that place where you have a king, there will be a president who is a head of state, or maybe prime minister.
Prime Minister.
Yeah, so the queen does not run the
king
executive
when you have a
state.
prime minister,
Yeah.
there is a head of state.
Yeah.
A prime minister is the head of government.
So,
Yes,
is our president head of state or head of government?
You are the political animal. Tell us.
So what I'm simply saying, we are isolated internationally. We have a president who has nothing to do with the state, who is busy on top of vehicles, simply because the policies don't work. He ends up now looking at hungry Kenyans and telling them he wants to give them chapatis. Basically, if you have reached a level where you are confirming to the world that the people you rule can't even afford chapati, what does that mean? And you want me still to come on studio to say how chapati will help people in Kibera?
No, I want you to be able to convince Kenyans that this is the same Ken Ondiek who 2 years ago was saying something different. You must understand the position where Kenyans will sit today, who look at a potential.
Because we heard you.
Yeah, because
and some believed
nobody
what you're
would
saying.
have been able
In
to
fact, they didn't believe.
Allow me to finish. Nobody would have been able to separate the man who sits here today and the man who sat here 2 years ago. And this is not just about you. There have been many examples of people who've changed their position. And so what do you expect Kenyans to do when Kenyans are desperately looking for a proper leadership? Kenyans are desperately looking for livelihoods to be secured. And then that's why I asked, what happened in the back end? Because usually something must have happened for a change of position like this to
I was
occur.
explaining 3 things which happened. I know most Kenyans will want to quickly run to the fact that maybe if I was defending president,
Or
then I
maybe
was
they didn't give you a
benefiting.
position.
No. I know. That is what many Kenyans want to run to. Which each and everyone has freedom of thinking. They can think as they wish. But what I want to say is the truth. I wish the truth can get to Kenyans. And they know why I am saying I can't speak anymore in support of this system. One, this is a system, if you allow me to say the truth, the problem is that I am so censored. I hope I'll not be censored so much so that I give the truth. Because if I package them
speak your mind.
Thank you. One, I went to talk for the government. I was given policy document. I served as a post office. You know, the chief executive officer of Standard Group may want to fire you, but he doesn't want to send you that letter directly. What do? They write the letter which they know is so bad for you, because then they package it into an envelope, and then they send me as a post office to bring you. I don't know the content. The thing is, when you come to speak for the government, there's a rule of spinning for the government. That's why the government spokesperson speaks, even when he knows that he's speaking what is incorrect. Simply because I am told a policy document CT has told me today we are going to discuss SHA, why is it not working? Then I asked the minister in charge, tell me why SHA is not working. The minister will tell me, fine, we are putting up these things. I come and say what the minister has told me. But now when I leave the studio, people tell me that thing is not working.
So
I fall sick myself, I realize it's not working. So why then do I support it? And then this is a government that has insisted on it, which is not working. If there was corruption in NHIF, why didn't they correct the corruption? So this is what I'm saying. Number two, which happened, there is always time when you have supported something too much. You can. That's why I talked about marriage. You can be married to your wife or your husband who loves you so much, you support each other, but you realize that he is not the cause for which you are married. Then you choose to divorce. It means that only a fool can't change his mind, especially when you find that things are just not working. I can tell you things are not working. I have checked. I have seen. In fact, one day I was defending a university model. And then a student, I was a teacher before. A student I taught tells me, my brother, currently I'm a lecturer, and this thing is not working, sir. This thing is bad. So who do I believe? Do I believe a minister who I don't know, who has just told me about it, or I believe someone I really have trusted over time? So President William Ruto, together with his government, is completely not trustworthy of any person in this country.
Let's take a break.
That
on
is
that
very
point.
simple.
Let's
and
take
clear.
a break. Ken Ondiek is here with us this morning, and he's saying he's not shifting goalposts. What he's saying is that there's been a change of mind based on what he's been able to see. And then, of course, the question comes in. So then, what would you have Kenyans do as a result of that? So we're going to take a break and come back and look into that a little bit more, and why folks are walking away from those promises that have been made, which, by his own admission, he lauded them, spun them. We'll come back and talk about that. It's 22 minutes to 10.
Said, Chief, the Honorable M.A. Nanga was the most approachable politician in the country. And if you would ask in his hometown, Anata, they would tell you he was a man of the people.
Of the people.
I have to admit this from the onset, or else the story I would say would make no sense. Those are Chinua Achebe's words, in a man of the people. The reason, William Ruto is someone who, from the onset, everybody could believe that he could change things. The narrative, bottoms-up economic transformation agenda, the hustler movement, the intentions were there. And with the movement, the frustration he went through under the handshake government with Uhuru Kenyatta, he could actually tell you that he could do it. But the truth that Kenyans didn't remember, that before that, there were reasons to doubt him. Now I'm coming to say that there are reasons for me to be doubted for having served in defense of the president and the government. But I did not serve in defense to benefit from the government. Reason being,
Why did you serve?
I said I served in defense of the government because I believed on the policies, and also I believed on a few individuals who are there. But you see, as usual, sometimes you operate with people is when you know them. Even Jesus had to be crucified by his own people because of that. But you see, Paul had to transform the gospel, had to send the gospel, having been in that process.
Okay.
So now this is what I'm saying. Realization, basically, Kenyans don't need to trust. In fact, on this bench, if someone comes to tell you what this government is doing, just tell us the truth. Stop the spin. Just tell them that. Just tell them, okay, now, tell us what the government wants you to say. Then now tell us the truth. I have two segments in the discussion because I've realized that there's a lot which government wants them to say, and there's a lot which they also wish to say, but because of collective responsibility and the principle of governance, you can't say them. Now, the move is the best for me and the best for many Kenyans. I'm happy. Many Kenyans are realizing that this thing is not possible. And that's why they're running away from the promises. Even the members of parliament, they're running from promises which were made to them. One, we have a parliament which cannot operate. In fact, the current parliament has failed Kenyans. I said it somewhere, that members of parliament are subject of these lords. Like members of parliament of Azimio are subject to who Raila wants. So it means what you see in parliament, you see the mind of Raila. I don't see their minds. Just like when they went to vote, how come all members of parliament of Azimio could vote for Gachagua out, meaning they didn't think anything. So what they think is what they are told. So even members of parliament, when they come here, you tell them, can you tell us what your party wants you to say? And then now, when you are done with that, can you tell us yours? Because the truth is that the spinning all over sides is not correct. Now, what Kenya needs to do, one, look at the current labor situation in the country.
Yeah.
Kenyans are jobless. Kenyans are jobless, and that's why, as Progress Plus Alliance, we have called out Kenyans so that we have consultation with jobless Kenyans. Because this part, when they come on census, they ask you unemployed or self-employed. You know, then they group you as self-employed as employed. When you are a struggling person driving Bolt, then you have employed yourself. Basically, you are jobless, but the government is taxing you. But they come on census, they ask you whether you are self-employed or not. So they don't put a position for jobless. So there are so many Kenyans who are jobless. We cannot be, as jobless Kenyans, discussing SHA. I'm a jobless Kenyan. I cannot be talking about SHA because Kenyans don't have money to pay for that SHA. We cannot talk about levy being levied on housing because we don't have money to pay for those things. So what we want to do as a country now, Kenyans who are jobless need to sit down and now discuss among themselves. Are we going to invest? Are we going to take the jobs by force, or are we going to force them to create jobs for us? Because this is a country which has not built any industry for the past few years.
Are you drumming up support for your own political party?
No, I am drumming support for Kenyans who are jobless, Kenyans who are suffering, Kenyans who are stealing in the presidential convoy, and they are called being thieves. They are being called thieves, yet actually they didn't intend to steal.
Do you know that what you're doing is exactly what the president did?
Yeah, but that's
he found a situation which he understood very well. He's an extremely eloquent fellow. He explained to people they're suffering, and he told them, by the way, there is a way out.
I have a solution.
I, whom you hear, can provide the way out. Is this not what any politician who's worth their weight in salt will tell you?
When he explained so, you trusted him.
When people listen to politicians, they listen because they want someone to give them hope. That's why people, all these large numbers of people go to rallies and so forth. Yeah. They want someone who can inject some hope, and the hope that will sort of like expel the miseries that they feel in their lives. People who are busy doing what they're doing don't go around attending rallies.
You see, we all believed bottoms-up transformative agenda. It was making sense.
That narrative made a lot of sense.
Yes.
It still makes sense. The narrative makes sense.
After studying it and realizing the owners of the narrative, speaking it and doing it, I have realized that it doesn't make sense.
Why?
It doesn't make sense because it doesn't outline the exact way by which that bottom thing will be done to ensure that that person at the bottom is elevated from that bottom bit. They gave it a good package, but they didn't package it and pack it so that it could be visible. For me, I thought transformative agenda from the bottoms up was simply going to enable that person at the low level. And that's what I said. We stayed waiting, talking on their behalf. I thought they were going to make life of that person simple. You are talking about so many people at the low cadre level, and they don't have jobs. I thought they were going to think, because the only thing Kenyans need is an opportunity to earn something. That's all. That's what, if you talk about Mama Mboga, you talk about them earning something. When you talk about hustlers, you talk about them earning something. I thought they were going to create an environment enabling these people to earn something, not to injure them by too much taxation, not to injure them by not creating any factories, which are there are collapsing. The ones which are there are collapsing and they are not doing anything. I thought they were going to transform it through industries. That's all we need. Kenyans need industries to work. Like now the Standard Media. The other day I saw they have stopped even the advertisement of this company. This is a big company which if you deny them money, all these people on the bench, where are they going to go? And they are destroying it simply because they have a mission to interfere with some people's business. Was that the bottoms-up transformative agenda? The thing is, allow me just say this. Kenyans want to hear this. That one, the only thing that Kenyans need today is opportunity to earn something. Opportunity to earn something. And the opportunity to earn something, the government can only do by bringing industries. Full stop.
So you're saying...
I thought they were going to suspend unnecessary development and focus on industries. If that would work, that's all. In fact, I can give you my 7 writings. As I was talking for the government, I was writing a policy document, 7 policy documents. I have even a cabinet paper I wrote myself, which I thought could be presented to transform the Nairobi River. I can give you my policy as Ondiek Kennedy. We could be presented to cabinet for transforming this. When they read it, they decided to turn it into some conmanship business down here, which is now not what I thought. So there are people who get good ideas. I gave my personal opinion of a good idea which could transform Nairobi River. And what they did, they hijacked it, took it to the Ministry of Housing, and now you see what is happening there.
So Ondiek, are you angry because it is a deal gone?
No. I gave a policy. It was not supposed to be a deal. I gave my mind. I didn't even consult for the government. By the way, for me, I have not earned anything from this government, whether through back channel or through front channel. I have not.
You have volunteered?
I volunteered because of one thing. One thing, that this idea was good. I didn't vote for President William Ruto, and I had said it here. But I thought that when he came in, there was an idea to build something. So I decided to join, because he joined my brother, who was very sharp, Dr. Raymond Omolo. I saw him here one day. He's a very sharp man. If he talks, he's very sharp. But I'm telling you, the best he can do, because he's given it's his department of modifying the chiefs and assistant chiefs and the DOs. He's really doing it well. So he's not able to do that. So I trusted that. So this is now the problem. We have good policies, but they are not implemented.
So the implementing matrix for all of this seems to be the problem here. However, we hear your voice the loudest. I think now, after we've seen this pact or marriage between Raila Odinga and President William Ruto, that seems to have irked you a little bit. You said that now that they've joined, that is now the downfall of all of this. Why?
I will answer it on my personal perspective, and I'll be allowed to be personal.
Please.
And then I'll answer it on public perspective, and I'll be allowed to be public.
Okay.
One, on personal basis, I did not like the way Raila has been operating our Nyanza region. And I will not relent on that. I said, this Raila person cannot help Luo community. Because I'm a Luo, first of all, before I become a Kenyan. Yeah. Because, for example, if you look at how he did whip even his MPs to remove Gachagua. And then they stand, after removing Gachagua, because Gachagua was tribalistic in his statements, they also stand on that tribalistic basis and divide everything today. What they are saying, is it different from what Gachagua was saying? So they should all impeach themselves. That way he mismanaged our Luo politics and leadership.
How exactly
did
he mismanage Luo
By
politics?
one, I'm not opposed to Raila today so much. What I'm simply saying...
Just a little bit.
Yes, just a little bit.
Yes.
We have a dispensation where somebody selects who becomes your member of parliament. He selects for you. In the name of bringing to be elected
by the process of nomination.
Yes. He selects, and that is why I told you, the other time I told you, I started PDP together with Governor Bado, so that we bring alternatives, so that when he selects somebody with his ODM, we could have an alternative. In 2022, they ensured that in the United States registration until we remained partyless. It remained ODM. He has maintained tyranny, monopoly, and lack of democracy within that region with a party called OD with democracy on it, which is a fallacy. Number two.
Political parties are not democratic institutions, sir. But continue.
Allow me to dispense my points. I'll forget. Because I really wanted to answer it on personal and private.
Go ahead.
So, when I see this person, he had already been rejected by Kenyans, just like I also rejected him. Then now, this one who has been rejected uses the opportunity that Gen Zs really wanted to use to transform this country. Then he jumps into it, then hijacks the whole thing. Now you can see, he calls more shots, than the president. He has now taken over parliament. Now, what next is he intending to take over? Now, finally on public, this is a government that only needed to be guided into transformation to help Kenyans. It was not government to be supported, to be cajoled in continuing to do what they are doing. If SHA is not working, you don't have to go and sign some pact to get some positions in parliament to let SHA work. Simply calling on the minister and the permanent secretary in that ministry, if this thing is not working, how do you tell us that the system of SHA cannot work when M-Pesa works 24/7 in this country and transacts bigger volumes of money than that which SHA needs to transact? Then you tell us that we as a country need to sign a pact between Ruto and Raila to let SHA work.
Well, Ondiek, let me ask the question. You have mentioned Gen Z protests, Raila jumps and hijacks, according to you. Tell me, is Raila Odinga a politician?
I don't know.
He is.
Who is a politician?
He is. You are a politician. Raila Odinga is a politician. What exactly has he done wrong in hijacking that process?
What I'm saying is this. If it's really progressivist, as he claims, then the truth was simple. He would have just asked the Gen Zs, because I didn't see him consult the Gen Zs.
You know, that's what
he
he
would
would
have
do.
sat with them.
Yes.
He would have sat with them and asked them, what is it? The other day when he wanted to join Ruto, we saw him pretending that he went around the country to collect views. He didn't go around the country. He went to Luo community, and then he went to Coast, where he believes that he has some support. Did you see him in any other place? Simply what I'm saying, and I will be very candid about it. And you know, there's something which when you say, you go to your house comfortable. You know, when I was talking for the government, I could go to my house and my wife, the other day I would say something, and then my wife asked me, babe, are you sure you are okay? Did you meet anybody before you went to the studio? Then I asked, to meet what? I told, I just came from the house and went to the studio. Then she told me, what you have said, I don't think, even my colleagues at work were asking me, is this your husband talking? Because I was defending taxation. I was defending that tax, by the way, tax bill.
You were.
I defended it strongly up to the day when it was withdrawn. In fact, I was on TV in the morning defending it, and the government withdraws it in the evening. Just like John Badi was in the morning defending Adani deal, and the government withdraws from it that day.
Was it Mbadi or was it?
One day. It was very funny. I was watching one day defending the Adani deal for the president to pull it out the other, an hour. In fact, the government was like addressing the press when he was on television, addressing something about your meeting. So that is the kind of thing. My wife told me, oh, babe, I don't think you are right. So I can tell you, I was sad even in my house. Now I can be very comfortable. If they want to arrest me, they will.
But you're still angry.
No, but when I
you're still
from
angry.
Studio, when I come from here, I'll be happy.
Yes, of course you're venting, and we understand. You know, you are right. One must have the latitude to change one's mind. And actually, it's a sign of strength, not weakness, to change your mind. It's just that when somebody changes their mind very, very often, this is the first time you're changing your mind, so you are still okay.
You're okay.
If you change it a second time, we'll say, this guy now.
What does it portend? I mean, I think our time is running down, Ondiek. So it seems as though, from what you've said, there are many people who have the same feeling that you do, and are bringing it out, whether it's in private or whether it's in public. What does it mean moving forward if this vote of no confidence is now being put out in the public?
The truth is that the state, as it's being run today, has lost direction. And when you talk about Progress Plus Alliance, I think I did not come to popularize our party, but when you come to it, you will find my party leader is your friend, and the one you know so much is called Arnold Maliba. If Arnold Maliba is on Progress, I am on Progress. We are a team of persons who are when we came from telling you those things, we could meet in our cocoon and we say, please, Ken, you talked about this. Now we need to approach the minister. We tell the minister that we were discussing this, but it's not working. When you go to the minister is as helpless as even more than you. So the minister tells you, my brother, we are trying our best. Basically, they are working like, in fact, instructionary. It's more instructionary than... So I can tell you, we are in call a minister here. Just please, this is an open channel. I saw my brother, Dr. Raymond, explain this part. I really loved the way he explained things. But at least for him, he's working because interior chief and assistant chiefs are being run well. You can see they are in good uniforms. They are doing at least better. Now call a minister of health here. the minister will be very helpless. I will text you some question to ask, only 2 to 3 questions. I will tell you that one maybe I can't address, simply because they are more instructionary. They are like prefects, and they are not in charge of those things. They are just making notes. So that is it. They give the list of noisemakers. The person who punishes is known.
Which seat do you want to vie for in the next election?
Okay, fine.
You have in 10 seconds.
As a party, we are looking forward to changing this country, and that's why we want to take State House. We want to take state power. People don't believe sometimes, and when you say I want to be president, or my party leader Maliba wants to be president, or any member of progressive movement wants to be president, people laugh first. But the truth is that smile laughter breaks heart, and then you end up not fighting for what is right.
Okay.
This big political class must now go home. That's the simple truth, including members of parliament who have overstayed their usefulness must just go.
They are elected.
They are elected, but I'm telling you, Kenyans will not elect them again if they listen to what we have to say. 1, we need jobs. 2, we need water. This Article 10 of the Constitution, which talks about national values and principles of governance. If effected, we will have Article 43. Article 43 about socioeconomic, that's all Kenyans want. Kenyans don't want you to repair boomers of Kenya. You repair boomers of Kenya for who? If KICC has collapsed, Intercontinental Hotel has collapsed, like Regency has collapsed. Why are you bringing another thing?
Ken Ondiek is the national chair of the Progress Plus Alliance. Spilling some beans here this morning. It'll be interesting to see how times ahead of us lie. Thank you so much for being in the hot seat of the Situation Room this morning, Asante. And again, I want to watch. Thank you so much for being part of Kenya's biggest conversation through this Tuesday morning. Good morning. It's 10:10.